I did something quite odd. I focused on the person in question when they had a problem. And I visualized my mother. I wanted the best for her. So if I had a guest that was complaining, I was thinking like, okay, how would I treat if this was for my mother?
Dear Jan Ringertz, thank you very much for this conversation on excellence. You are a very experienced manager in high-end hospitality. General manager of this beautiful hotel, the Yeatman, where we are today, a boutique hotel with breathtaking views and wine experiences. High-end hospitality is a business where clients look for excellence. My question is, based on your wide experience, how would you define excellence in high-end hospitality?
I sometimes search to find simple solutions for things. So I think that excellence is basically to do something extraordinary and to do something just very good, to put attention to detail. It comes down to the point of exceeding expectations. That's crucial.
Yes, with a lot of attention to detail.
Of course, of course.
The Yeatman Hotel, where we are today, is an award-winning hotel. Actually, it has been an award-winning hotel almost since day one. I have done some research and I have a few facts here. It's one of the 5 best hotels in the Iberian Peninsula. It has a 2 Michelin star restaurant. It has been named Best Hotel Spa, Europe's Best Regional Wine List, Best Boutique Hotel, Portugal's Best Wine Cellar. It has recently built a new presidential suite, wines, spas, restaurants. This is all tangible. Is excellence produced with tangible assets only, or is there something else?
I think in the hospitality industry there is a combination of things. I think it's crucial in 5-star hospitality to have fantastic tangible assets to start with, of course.
Yes. Guests take it for granted.
Exactly. That's the whole point, is that nowadays you book a 5-star hotel and you don't doubt that it's good. So the thing is that how can you make it different? And that's where all the staff members comes in. There comes the way once again to exceed the expectations, and the expectations are of course very individual. You get clienteles coming from different nationalities, so their own definition for what is excellence
is different.
They look for different things, so it's needed a very strong team. And here you mentioned quite a lot of awards that the hotel has won. And this comes very much from the original team that was coming into place when the hotel opened, and that has followed us since then, creating a culture of always doing your best and doing something for the guests to really feel that you're special.
It is not easy to surprise and exceed expectations when you have American guests, when you have Asian guests, when you have European guests.
I think it has to do a little bit with the basic human understanding. Before working in the hotels, I worked for a tour operator. I also worked in different areas of the service industry. And very early, in my earliest stage in my career, I did something quite odd. I focused on the person in question when they had a problem, had a complaint, had something else, and I visualized my mother. It's quite odd, but what I wanted to do is that I wanted the best for her. So if I had a guest that was complaining that the steak was cold or whatever it might be, I was thinking like, okay, how would I treat if this was for my mother? So I said like, okay, it's not just enough to apologize, and it's just, no, it's really needed to do it well. I always look at this person, it's like, how can I solve this the best possible way? Of course, defending my own interest, but also defending the interest of the others.
That's a nice idea. Ritz-Carlton co-founder Horst Schulze has written a book called Excellence Wins. He explains that storytelling and very good training and empowering employees are key ingredients in producing excellence in high-end hospitality. How does this resonate with you?
I think that's just spot on. The hospitality industry, this is 24/7. We're open all year round. And when you start thinking about it, already at 9 o'clock in the morning, at the same time we are cleaning rooms, we're serving breakfast, we're checking in guests, we're preparing spas. You can actually not control this permanently, everything at the same time. It doesn't work. So empowerment is actually one of the key processes in this. You must trust people, let people go on with it.
Train them?
Train them, of course, that they follow a line that you would like. And it's also crucial to understand that many times people are, perhaps this is the wrong word, smarter than you or more experienced than you are in certain areas. And sometimes as a manager it's crucial that instead of controlling, that you basically listen to people, guide people, and then empower them to put the key question in the end of the day, or the key point in the end of it, that is that the guest has to be in focus.
I couldn't agree more. And storytelling is also part of this process.
Of course.
You have to engage guests with stories, right?
Exactly. That makes the whole package in everything you do more interesting. You have to have a story. There has to be a story about the city. There has to be a story about the hotel, because that's in the end of the day what people take with them when they go home.
Right. That's right. You are a Swedish citizen living in Portugal for many years. How many?
33 years.
33 years.
Yeah, a long time.
That's a lifetime.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sure you feel a little bit Portuguese already.
Yes, very much so.
During 4 years, you have been appointed by the Kingdom of Sweden, your country. You have been appointed honorary consul. That's a very prestigious mission and mark in your career, and congratulations for that. What I would like to know is there something, some idea, a practice that you have learned during this, let's call it diplomatic assignment, something that you have learned while you were honorary consul for your country in Portugal, and now apply in your hotel management activity?
To be an honorary consul, that's a great pride. For me it was very special because I was representing my own country, so
right.
it is an association to your roots, to say like this. What comes with being an honorary consul is in the end of the day to help out fellow citizens, in many cases in need. And this is very interesting because basically people come up to you with sometimes the most complex problems, from people that has lost everything they have and they don't even know how to go home, and there are people being robbed, there are people comes in quite severe situations. And this comes down to the hospitality industry many times, because it comes down to putting the people first, putting people in focus. So what you do as an honorary consul, you get all this really difficult situation in front of you. You need to think outside the box and say, how can I solve this situation in the best possible way?
And help this person.
And that's what sometimes happens in hotels.
Managing a high-end 5-star luxury property as this one implies you have to serve and delight very demanding guests. How is excellence perceived by this sophisticated audience, by these sophisticated guests?
I think once again that's very difficult to make a generalized definition, because in the end of the day we get a lot of people coming to stay in our hotel. We get American visitors, we get Brazilian visitors, we get Portuguese visitors, and they're not the same. And also the effort to stay in a hotel like this is very different. So, for instance, the interpretation of money, what's expensive, what's cheap, differs very much.
Very much.
People come sometimes on weddings, and the expectation is completely different than, for instance, if you get some political visitors, a president of a country. It's so it's very difficult to, let me say, just find a simple line in what is the expectation. I think that in the end of the day, when you go traveling yourself. Many times I position myself, I work in this environment, and when I go out traveling for my summer holidays, many times I book a luxury hotel, and then I question myself, what do I look for? In the end of the day, I look for an experience. And I look
a surprise.
For a surprise, I look for a friendliness, and when I go home, I have a tendency, if, for instance, I tend to travel to the same city many times, I choose the same hotel. Why? Because I can feel at home.
Yes.
And this is sometimes small things like this. It's not the size of the champagne bottle that defines...
It's making you feel at home.
Yeah, that's
interesting, making you feel at home, yes. Excellence is quite often related and very close to the concept of luxury. A luxury object has always a strong symbology and intangibility. And luxury products like award-winning hotels like this one, restaurants, spas, they contain a lot of intangibility and a lot of symbology. Which symbology and which intangible attributes do characterize a property like the Yeatman? This is, the symbology associated with this hotel. I see wine. It's a wine experience hotel.
We try to differentiate very much, and the owners, when the hotel was built, it was created almost a little bit like an urban resort, because the hotel has certain resort characteristics through swimming pools, through the spa relaxation area, which was very differentiating. We have the Michelin star and the whole food concept as such. So all these things are different, but there is one intangible part which I think is amazing, is that people come to the Yeatman and you have the most beautiful view that you can get the city of Porto. And I have quite a few people that's been traveling the world coming here, and they say like, well, this must be one of the most beautiful views I've ever seen. And this is, of course, but sometimes people know beforehand, and sometimes people have a good surprise when they arrive.
A good surprise, yes. But I couldn't agree more. The views from the balconies are really breathtaking.
Yeah, and it's a relaxing moment. When they go out, sitting on the balcony, they look out at the view, and they get something that they don't find easily in other places.
Is there an interesting story you would like to share about what you do to surprise your demanding guests, your most sophisticated clients?
Sometimes you get funny situations in hotels, and you get situations where you need to push a little bit for your creativity. We're in Portugal here, and so we got a very special Portuguese visitor, which was a football player. His name was Cristiano Ronaldo, and he stayed in the hotel, and he had his birthday. We want to do something special for him, to send something to his guest room. And you start to think like, what do we give to Cristiano Ronaldo? The man has basically everything. So we said, like, well, shall we send a bottle of champagne and say happy birthday? Well, I don't think that's so special. I took my wife and we went to the local market, the Mercado do Bolhão, here in Porto, and they have a Madeiran area from the island of Madeira. So we went in there, we bought broas de mel, which is a typical cookie that comes from Madeira Island.
Madeira Island.
We brought a soft drink called the Brisa Maracujá that cost about €1 each little can of this, but it's the most typical soft drink from the island of Madeira, because Cristiano Ronaldo comes from the island of Madeira.
Exactly.
So we brought as a VIP treatment, no silver plates or anything like this. No, I went there personally. I handed over to his assistant, say like, well, we would like your birthday to have a touch from Madeira. So here we brought you something from Madeira. And when Cristiano Ronaldo left the hotel, we met together, and I said like, oh, how was it? And he said like, well, it was great. It was the touch that come from his island. And this, once again, this is doing something different, because in the end of the day,
unexpected, and that really touches the heart of the. You have to bring emotion to the relationship with the guest.
The nice thing with it is that when you do these type of things, it's very genuine. I have a few other situations that's also quite funny. I worked in another hotel, and there came once again a football team, and the coach for the football team was José Mourinho. And we took a picture in the lobby of the hotel together, me and Jose Mourinho, and he was very nice, very gentle in all the ways. And that picture got stuck in my drawer in my office, and I didn't look at anything more. He went to become a coach in Chelsea, he won the Champions League with there, and he got transferred to Real Madrid.
Yes.
And I looked at the picture and I said, like, well, I'm going to do something with this. So I picked up a piece of paper and I wrote Jose Mourinho, Real Madrid. And I wrote like, well, Jose Mourinho, I followed your career. I'm very proud of your achievements, but I'm in debt with you. I never gave you the picture, so I'm sending you the picture. I have more gray hair now, so do you. Congratulations, I wish you all best of success in Real Madrid, with kind regards. And Jose Mourinho, he sent me an email back saying, Jan, thank you very much for the picture, which also shows that these people, which are, let me say, famous people in the top of the world, they also, they're normal human beings, like,
of course,
with the same expectations as everybody. They celebrate birthdays, they have special anniversaries, and a lot of emotions.
I believe the recipe is that you have to do simple things that really touch people with emotion and touch them in their very heart.
Yeah.
Very nice. But I mean, you have 2 Michelin star restaurants. I know that the stars do not represent only the quality of food, but mainly the quality of service as well. So
there is something very interesting with Michelin stars, and this sometimes shows what I think is important when it comes down to excellence and concepts of excellence. Because many times when you're not, let me say, in the industry, you say like, okay, there is a Michelin star or 2 Michelin stars. This has to do with luxury, but it doesn't. You can get a Michelin star in a normal fish restaurant. I went for a Michelin star in a Japanese sushi restaurant. So to give excellence can be done in a simple fish restaurant on the beach, and it can be done into a 5-star top luxury property that sells rooms for €1,000 a night.
Actually, there's one in Asia, a street restaurant.
Exactly.
And they got the Michelin
They get
star.
Michelin star.
And it's a street food restaurant.
Yeah.
But the way they treat people and the quality of, although very humble, but the quality of food and the quality of engagement, emotional engagement, has won them a star.
And all these chefs that has the Michelin stars, they have what burns inside them is the food culture, and that really differentiates in all the way.
Jan Ringertz, the world is facing a very big challenge. I'm talking about climate change. And environmental sustainability is a concern increasingly assumed by luxury brands. In a way, it is becoming a sign of brand excellence. What is your hotel doing in terms of sustainability?
It's exactly like you're saying, the world is going through a very special period. The period is not only now, it's been going on for quite some time. It's just that now when you see a few of the signs, the extreme weather, the press that comes through it, it becomes more and more important, more and more aware about the situation. And then you have 2 different aspects. You have one aspect where people have to show concern, people have to show a great practice, because that as such is good business sense. And one of the good parts in this hotel is that the owners of the hotel, they're very dedicated, let me call it, to the cause. So when the hotel was built, a lot of what we nowadays call, let me say, the basic issues, that you reuse irrigations, you make all the separations, you try to eliminate plastics, and you do all these type of things. This comes quite as basic. But on top of this, there is done here in Porto something called the Porto Protocol, which in the end of the day is to go beyond this. And this is genuine.
That's
and
right.
the Yeatman, that's part of the Porto Protocol. So we look
So
more
as a
and more
member.
at this, and we also start to look at what I call the good senses. For instance, if you can start to waste less energy, waste less water, it's not only good sound business sense, but it also makes sense. It makes you feel that you're doing the right thing. And I think that's
right.
more and more important nowadays to, let me say, to make a moral leadership at the same time.
Jan Ringertz, coming down to the final question, what is your luxury?
I think my luxury is the same as the luxury for many people. Time. It's as simple as that, to have time. And this can be time that you can do whatever you want with.
Quality time.
Yeah, especially time that you don't have schedules, you don't have plans, you don't have specific thoughts. And I always say that when you have this time, and especially on holiday time, you become odd. You become a completely different person. You start walking without your shoes on top of the grass. You take pictures of birds. You do things that you don't do in your day-to-day moment, and you're able to recharge your batteries. And I think that a great part of luxury is to be able to disconnect and to do whatever makes your soul feel happy.
Very well. Jan Ringertz, thank you very much for this conversation on excellence.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.
My pleasure too. Thank you.
Thank you.